It's the first day of the Halloween Advent Calendar from Brutus, Monroe. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out, and we're going to create with it. I am opening each one, every day, and going to have a short video on what's in here. Let's see what's in number one. I got the Monster Mash paper pad. All right, let's cut this open and take a look at it. Now, I think this was released a couple weeks ago because they had a few extras. So some of you may still have this. If it is still available, I will link in the description box below, along with anything else I use that is still available. All of them would be affiliate links. So here are our new colors: pumpkin, licorice, mortar, and waffle cone. We've got these are all double-sided. And then we'll flip them over. And gotta move them over so I get them all on camera. There are the patterns. Just fun. So I'm going to collect a few supplies, and I will come back and we will make a card using this paper pad. I chose this piece of paper, and I pulled out the pumpkin, the mortar, the waffle cone, and the licorice. Not exactly sure what color. I don't know if I'm going to use the licorice for sure. And I may not use the waffle cone, but I am going to definitely use the mortar and I think the pumpkin. I pulled out the Tricks and Treats stamp set. I'm going to use this couple of these little ghosts here and probably a sentiment. And then I grabbed my Guppy ink, my Raven Detail ink. And I also grabbed, this is the corner web cutting die. It was a free gift a month or so ago. I don't believe this is still in stock, but I'm just going to use this, I believe. And I'm not sure if there's anything else. The other thing I think I grabbed was this pumpkin glow stencil. And I'm going to go ahead and use a circle die to cut out my a piece of the mortar, and then I'm going to stamp my image in there and do some coloring. I'm going to just use some Olo markers. I will color that quick off screen, and then I will come back and put this together. Okay, I am going to use pumpkin waffle cone and some licorice with this. I've already stamped out my little ghosties with some Raven Detail ink on mortar, and I cut it with a stitch circle die from my stash. I also stamped my sentiment. And what I think I'm going to do is I don't know if I'm going to use the whole piece yet, but I thought what I would do first is I want to stencil the pumpkins from the stamp set the stencil onto my paper. And I'm going to use Guppy ink to do that. I'm not going to use any pixie spray because I don't really think I need to. I have magnetized I have a piece of metal underneath my Tim Holtz mat here, so it is magnet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab some of this Guppy ink and go over it. Now I may need to grab another ink because it may not be super dark, but I just want the hint. So I'm not gonna worry too much about it. So let's quick go through. And then I'll just move my magnet, is what I will do. And hold it down with my finger to do the corners. And I am gonna do the whole panel because I'm only gonna use a small strip, but I can save the other part for another project. So I thought maybe I would just do a little bit. I might do a little shading by grabbing the traffic cone and do a little bit on some of the edges just to give it some depth. I'm not going to worry about the stems being another color. I don't need to introduce another color. I'm just, like I said, gonna do a little bit I hope if you did the advent calendar, you're going to enjoy this. I've not really ever done a series before, so this is my first series. I plan on, I know today is actually the first day, and so I'm a little behind, but I've been setting up my new craft room, so I wanted to quick get this done and ready for tonight before, so I could maybe film day 2 right away. So I have that ready for tomorrow. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab, this is a traffic cone. And this is an ink stand that I use. I have the one for the Simon Hurley inks. It's very helpful to help so I don't have to hold my ink pad when I'm inking. I have one for that, and then I have the square one that fits the Brutus Monroe ink pads as well. I'm just gonna add a little bit of color at the bottom. Now this is gonna fade back because all inks do as they dry, and they kind of soak into the paper. So I'm just not being super careful. Like I said, just adding some extra dark color to the bottom for a little interest. Hopefully I did enough that it will stay. So, and then I think for a little bit of extra fun, quickly going to move this stuff out of the way, move my stuff out of the way here, and I'm going to grab my favorite Chroma Mist, the Ornament Gold. Gonna shake it to get all of that numminess in. And it's got that beautiful goldness. And then I'm just gonna spritz this. And then I'm just gonna let it dry. Okay, so I've got my little ghosties all colored. I used a little bit of the Pearl Shimmer Mist, the Shimmer Splash, to color them in, to make them sparkly. And we've got our background is all dry, so we're going to start putting this together. So I've got my card panel, that's gonna be our basis. Go ahead and, I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down to 2 inches. And so that's gonna be on here, which means this is gonna go to 2 1/4, so that we have a black border around the edges. And then for this piece, instead of having this whole thing, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it. It's 4 inches. I'm gonna cut it down to 3 by 3. For the panel. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down to 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And layer that on here. Okay, so we've got that. I may cut those down a little bit more. And then we have our little ghosties here that are going to go here. And then I have my little sentiment, and I'm gonna go ahead and I think we're gonna layer that on some black as well. So let's get this kind of done. I am gonna cut these down, I think, a little bit more. So I had 2 1/4. I'm gonna go to 2 1/8. I don't measure exact. I just go between the 2 1/4 and the 2 and make it that way. Same thing with my 3 inches. I'm gonna go to 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. I think that's what that is. Is that an 8? Yeah. And that will trim that down just enough to put that on. So there's just a little bit less black. And then I have my long panel that I can do my sentiment for, which I just lost. And the sentiment is 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna go to just about, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 ish. So I think what I'll do is I'll go this way, 1/2 inch, and then I'll go over 1/2 inch, or I mean 1/8 inch, and trim that down, and that should be enough for my sentiment. Like I said, I can always cut it down once I get it glued if I want it to be a little skinnier. All right, let's start putting our card panel together. Alrighty, here's that. And it's just gonna go, it's gonna be hard to see on the, because, you know, it's black background on a black glass mat, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So I got that little bit of a border. I mean, we could mat this on black as well, or put it on a black card base, but I'm gonna leave the orange because I want to leave a little bit more color to make it a little more colorful. Go ahead and we'll just pop that on to the left side. Now this would be super cute. You could just do this and you'd have a super cute card. But I definitely, part of this is to use our paper from our advent calendar. So once again, I'm going to eyeball it. What I do for this is I eyeball it for 3 of the 4 sides. And then usually your other side works really well. Go ahead and pop that down on there. Now this actually, I'm going to actually put a little extra glue on this side. I'm just going to use a piece of this paper, the black here, and I'm just going to tear it off because nobody's going to see it here. And I'm only doing that because there's 2 layers of cardstock here. This will just give it so it's kind of a little bit more flat when I lay it down. I'll go ahead and put that down on here. And then we've got our little ghosties, and I'm thinking about popping them up. So I'm going to grab some foam tape here. And I'm just going to cut it up into a few bits to put on the back of our circle here. Now you could also, if you have a coordinating, you know, nesting die, you could mat this with black as well. I'm going to leave it plain because I'm okay with that. It's got the black from the stamping. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the backing off. Oh, and that's going to show just a hair. So I'll just trim it like that. And we're going to pull these off. And then pop this down here. I'm going to pop it down over here a little bit because I want a little bit more of my ghosties over here to show. And then we got our sentiment here. I cut it extra long. And I'm going to put it matted. I'm going to put it all the way up to the edge. If I get a little extra glue on the side, I just kind of rub it with my finger. And I'm going to match it so that both sides are close. Try to put it as straight as I can. And then we'll go ahead and put that down. So we're going to need a little foam tape on each side. I'm just going to cut a couple pieces like this. And what I do is I'm going to kind of put it down. So I need a piece here. And then we need a smaller piece. I'm going to cut this in half. Put this one on this side. So I'll take that off. And then I'm going to put a little bit of tape runner right through the middle because that's going to be on that layer there. And then what I'll do is put my magnet down to kind of hold it. I can try to get this as straight as possible. And then I will use my grid lines here. I'm going to use a solid grid line to make it straight across. And then we'll just trim it off. And then all I have left to do is put it on a card base. So let's do that quick. And I notoriously run my edge over the edge, so I just kind of run my finger on it, and then we'll just kind of line it up. Like I said, line it up on 4 edges, on the 3 edges if you can. And pop it down, and then if I have a little bit of extra, because sometimes your card, if you don't, you know, score it perfectly, all I can do is just trim off a tear, trim it off a tear, and that will make my card panel. The same thing. This one I'm just going to cut with my big scissors because there's just a little spot right there where I must not have got it quite straight. And there we go. Day 1 of the Advent calendar is this 4x4 Monster Mash. So please give me a like. If you enjoyed this, think about subscribing. Like I said, I will link anything that is still available in the description box below. There will be affiliate links, which means if you place an order with them using that link, I will get a small kickback, which just helps me bring you content. So I hope you have a great evening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.